Hey guys, how's it going? It is Will with another Inktober. This is day 22. I'm still thanking God for the fact that I'm actually stuck with this. It's funny because I look at this and I'm like, it's been 22 days and I've drawn something every day, even if sometimes I wasn't thorough with the video on the same day for the upload. But I did do this, so I wanted to kind of give y'all some information on this. So before we start, I want to let you know how we're going to do tonight. We're going to do it a little bit different. Normally on Monday nights, I would do a separate video for the comment contest and everything. We're going to do it all here. So I'm going to put this up. This is how it's going to work. Okay, I'm going to roll a d12. We've got 4 people this week who entered. Actually, technically 5 because I forgot Piping Artist Steph had a comment on here. So I got to add Piping Artist Steph before we do that. So, sorry about that. I totally forgot she commented on a couple of videos this week. So, gotta add her. So I have to change my numbers up a bit. So, because I got 5. So, we'll probably have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then since it's a 12-sided die, if we roll a 10 or 11 or 12, then I just won't get it. So we kind of, that way we keep it even, everything. So then, just so you know, so the stuff for this week, Miles Morales is tonight, and then Gwen Stacy will be tomorrow, or Spider Gwen rather. Yeah, she's Gwen Stacy, but that's a whole other story. Then I've got Amadeus Cho on Wednesday. Thursday I've got Shuri. Friday I've got Riri Williams. Saturday I'm doing a bigger one, and I'm actually going to do the Runaways, the comic book version of the Runaways, and I'll go through their stories. It'll be probably the longest one I've done for an Inktober. So I'll actually draw out all of the characters. Some of them may be pre-drawn beforehand. It just depends. And then Sunday is a placeholder. Okay, so yeah, right now that's got Spider Ham in there. And if the person that wins tonight's deal doesn't give me any options, then I'm gonna draw Spider Ham on Sunday because technically, in his dimension, he is a teenager. Uh, but what I want from whoever wins tonight between now and the Friday video going up, I want you to give me the name of a person that you would want to see me draw on the Sunday video. They have to be a teenager and they have to be a Marvel character, the Marvel Comics characters. So they have to be a teenager and they have to fit that criteria. So I mean, you could give me any of them and we'll get it drawn for you on Sunday. If not, we'll draw Spider Ham. So anyway, so I will do the actual contest winner at the end of this. So we're going to get this away from now so that way we can go ahead and get Miles down. Now, Miles Morales is an interesting character for a couple of reasons. Some of you may or may not know he will actually be the star of the Enter the Spider-Verse movie that's coming out around Christmas time this year. And so he will be the main Spider-Man. Uh, Spider-Man, it's interesting because, of course, with Spider-Man, they've done a Spider-Verse. And the concept is that in each universe, there's a different Spider-Man who represents the spider, who represents the arc of the spider, so to speak. So it's kind of the idea of Miles in his universe. There is a dimension called the Ultimate Dimension. We have the Ultimate Comics and things like that. Well, Miles Morales came out of that. A couple of fun facts about Miles' creation. Back when back when they were casting the new replacement after Tobey Maguire and that Spider-Man kind of came done with, they actually did a search trying to figure out what they were going to do, and they were like, well, with this new Spider-Man, there's so many things about him. Donald Glover actually was considered as the character person they were going to cast to do the new Spider-Man movie. Of course, people had issue with it. We live in a world, unfortunately, where sometimes people don't. If people don't agree with something, they tend to blast people instead of just being like, okay, I don't agree with this, but that doesn't mean it's a horrible situation. But anyway, so Miles was kind of created out of that. And what's crazy about it is that Donald Glover, uh, of course, like I said, he was just kind of thought to be a person that they might consider as Spider-Man. Well, then whenever they created Miles, in the comic, they actually based his physical look a little bit off of a younger version of Donald Glover. So I thought that was really neat how they did that. So anyway, Miles Morales is a half black, half Hispanic young man, and he comes into the fray. He initially finds out he's got powers in his universe because, again, we're talking about a multiverse idea. And so in his universe, he is the Spider-Man of his world, but he still has to learn how to do that. Well, in walks a much older Peter Parker, who's been Spider-Man for a while. And so he actually ends up getting trained by the then current Peter Parker. And in the Enter the Spider-Verse movie, it's interesting because what they've actually done is they've actually confirmed that the Peter Parker that will be in that movie is actually going to be the version of Peter Parker we've seen in the movies, in the Sony movies prior, back when Sony had the rights to him. So they actually, in the trailer, actually have a thing where they show him kissing Mary Jane, you know, the infamous scene from the old Spider-Man movie where he's kissing Mary Jane upside down and different things like that. They show that. They also show the scenes where he's fighting the lizard. So they combined the different people that played Spider-Man in actual films into one Peter Parker. And this is kind of the older, wiser Peter Parker who, you know, he's still kind of down on his luck. He doesn't really have a whole lot, but he definitely has a lot of heart to do the work to be Spider-Man. And so that's what's most important to him. And so when he meets Miles at one point, he actually decides he needs to maybe help this kid become all he can be as far as being Spider-Man. He even tells Miles, he says, the things that makes you Spider-Man are, you know, nobody else can be the Spider the way you're going to be the Spider-Man. So don't try to be like anybody else, be yourself. So I think that's a really powerful life lesson that goes beyond just, you know, of course, the comic book world. You know, sometimes we get in these ruts in life and we wonder, you know, well, man, I wish I could be like this person, or man, I wish I could be like this person. And sometimes you just have to remember you were created to be you. Nobody on earth is supposed to do you other than you, you know. And that's the thing that I think separates us from a lot of different people is when you realize that there's a freedom in it. But anyway, that's not the point. Uh, so Miles basically is the normal, average, everyday kid. His father's a cop in New York in their version. And so very much is out there trying to do his thing, trying to be out there to protect his family and stuff. And he slowly but surely realizes that he is definitely, he's definitely a little bit different. He's definitely he's in a league of his own, so to speak, as far as being a superhero and everything. And so when he gets the opportunity to be Spider-Man, he really cherishes it because he understands what it means. And he understands that people in his life, you know, depend on him and different things like that, to the point where I believe in the comics, the Peter Parker, and I'm not trying to spoil anything because, again, if you're a comics fan, you know this stuff already. If you're not, you know, understand, I'm not trying to spoil the movie because I don't know if the movie's going to go in this direction. But Peter eventually, the Peter Parker that's training him to become Spider-Man passes away. Something happens and he gets, you know, he ends up losing his life. And kind of in tribute to Peter, you know, he kind of continues moving on, you know, in the land of being the Spider-Man of his world. And then in the comics, it's even cooler because he actually becomes part of our world as well. He actually joins the rest of the Marvel 616 characters. And so, anyway, he gets a chance to really be Spider-Man. Matter of fact, Civil War 2, he got to play a really interesting part because they basically made it out to be like he was supposed to. There was this whole thing where there was this mutant that was, or inhuman that could see the future. And so there's a point where the inhuman who could see the future sees Spider-Man standing over Steve Rogers. But it's Miles. And so it's interesting because, of course, everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're going to kill Captain America. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to kill Captain America. I like Captain America too much. And, of course, that's a whole other thing I'm not going to get into because that gets all into the whole Hydra Cap stuff and all that stuff. And I'm not really going to play that today. But he basically ends up, you know, kind of saving people and stuff like that. He becomes a champion. And the champions are a team that you're going to meet some other champions during this week's video because I'm about to ask Cho as a champion. We did Miss Marvel already. And Miss Marvel's one of that group. I don't have time, unfortunately, to draw all of the characters because there are about 6 people in that team. You know, not including Viv and some of the others. But anyway, so I want to kind of give, you know, an opportunity to really just kind of paint that whole thing. You know what? There's a way to do this a lot quicker, and I hate to do it this way. I don't mean to cheat the situation, but I don't want to spend a whole night sitting there trying to, So I'm just going to probably end up having to hit it this way instead. I'll have to black the suit out and then do it this way, because otherwise I'll be here all night trying to do it. And then my pen wants to act up and not be nice and fluidy. Maybe if I switch it up. Maybe I'm supposed to. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe I'm supposed to switch it up a little bit. Get the big marker. Go big or go home, right? So anyway, one of the cool things about Miles, beyond the fact that he's the spider in his world, is that he was the spider in his world, and it was funny because they did these Ultimate comics for several years, and then one day they just decided they were done with them, and so they decided they were going to end the line. Well, when they ended the line, he was one of the few things that actually survived the Ultimate line, and so I thought that was really cool that they brought him over when they got rid of so much other stuff. They were just like, no, we're not going to keep a lot of it. And they kept Miles, which I thought was really cool. Another fun fact about Miles, I talked about Donald Glover earlier. Another fun fact about Donald Glover is that Donald Glover actually ended up paying that off in a way because, I talked about the whole fact that at one point they were talking about casting him as Spider-Man in the new version of the movie, that Andrew Garfield ended up taking over for him. But what's really cool about that, besides that, was the fact that they didn't end up going that direction, which is fine. But what they did do was in Spider-Man Homecoming, when they did the MCU version of Spider-Man, Donald Glover was actually in that movie playing the role of the person in the comics who's going to become the Prowler at some point. Now, the Prowler, for those of you who don't know, is a bad guy in the Spider-Man universe. What's really interesting is that in the Ultimate Universe, the Prowler is Miles' uncle. So it's a point in the movie Homecoming where Donald Glover says, hey, you're trying to get those guns off the street. And Spider-Man says something like, yeah, but you're trying to get them on there. He says, no, I really don't want that kind of stuff on the streets like that. So I got a nephew to think about. So they kind of hint to Miles without being direct. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then for them to be doing, of course, for Sony to come in and do this movie and everything. I think it'd be really interesting if we got to see Miles in the Sony version of Spider-Man. Sony keeps talking about the fact that we can do Spider-Man without doing Peter Parker. So I think it'd be interesting if Miles was the Spider-Man of the Sony version, and then you had Peter as the version that was, Peter in our version. And I think that'd be cool. So that'd be interesting if that's the case. I don't think we're going to get it. I don't think we're going to get Miles as the Spider-Man in that world, but it'd be awesome if we did. Because I think that'd be an interesting way of cool. So anyway, like I was saying earlier too, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off rabbits. I'll chase rabbits. I'll try to make sure that everything I'm talking about is very much part of the whole thing. But anyway, Miles' mom, of course, is Hispanic. Miles' dad is black. So it's interesting to see kind of a different, not only biracial family, but also a family where the father is there, and the mother is there. I think that's really neat. Even when we, find out things that happen later in the books, again, not trying to spoil things for those who want to go out and read the adventures of Miles Morales. And trust me, there's plenty more coming. I believe we're getting a whole other comic book series where Miles is, fully realizing who he's supposed to be on his own. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. But anyway, it's just about done for that. This one went a little longer than I wanted it to. Actually, this video went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I'm glad we're able to get some things out. I'm glad we're able to get some designs out, different things like that. Tighten this up a little bit around the edges. So how are you guys doing? I hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all have been enjoying these Inktobers that we've been doing over the past few weeks. And I'm going to come in now and go do the whites behind it. So if I ever decide I want to color this picture, then I need to make sure that I've got the whites in there to put the red in there because his suit is black, red on black. So I think it's pretty interesting. So, and there we are. My phone keeps doing weird stuff, and I'm not for sure why. But that's beside the point. That said, I hope y'all are enjoying these. I hope y'all are enjoying seeing the different teen characters that are out there. I never realized how many different teen superheroes there were until I got to drawing this and started looking up different teen superheroes. Of course, there are a bunch of other people that I'm gonna miss in this. I'm not gonna hit every teen hero that's ever been a teen, but I'm gonna try to get some people. Like I said when I started this, I definitely wanted to do some characters that people weren't not aware of as much, but I also wanted to do some characters that were beloved by the people. So, by the way, just as a side note, and I think I've said this more than once, so I'm gonna say it again. If you have not checked out S Comic Maker's channel, you need to go do that because if you like what I'm doing, you're gonna love what she's doing. So. Anyway, we're getting done with this, getting finished with the webbing there. Yeah. I gotta go in and tighten up some stuff here at the end. All right, and there's Miles. There's Mr. Miles Morales. So we're at this point, this is day 22. So day 22, Miles Morales. And he is the Spider-Man. So now it's time for the contest. I'm gonna make it real simple. So as I've got my numbers up here, so you guys can see. I'm gonna fold this. There's no point to see the other side of it because I already announced all that. So anyway, if you don't remember, don't worry. I'll put a list down below in the comments. As soon as I get this thing to fold straight. So S Comic Maker is 1, 2, 3, 4 is Cody Lee. 5, 6 is it's AJ Art. 7 to 8 is Corinda Adele, and 9, 10 it's gonna be the piping artist Steph. So I'm gonna roll the D12. You heard it there, and the number comes up is the number. I hope that makes it clear. Number 6. I can get get my hand in there. So yeah, it's number 6. So that means it is Mr. It's AJ Art this week, who won a spot at the drawing at the end of the month for the sketchbook. So I hope you guys, you'll share this with people. If you're on the list, hey, congratulations. I thank you just for continue to support what I'm doing. Anyway, guys, as always, take care. Love you guys very much. And above all else, be blessed. Be a blessing to somebody, guys. So, just so we're clear, it's AJ Art 1 this week. So I put the little dash there. It's AJ Art 1. So comment below. Want to see your comments for this week's stuff because we'll be doing this one more time. I don't know for sure. I guess Monday. We may wait to do the other one since I believe Thanksgiving. We're not quite there yet. Halloween, I think it's on Tuesday. So what we may do is next week we may do the other one extended out a day and just do it on Tuesday. That way we get all the stuff going on. Anyway, guys, take care. Love you. Be blessed to be a blessing to somebody. Take care.